their eyes sunken, their voices ragged. Whispers followed them into their cells, promises of release if only they would renounce their vows. Some carved strange symbols into the stone, claiming they had been taught by angels, though none in Christendom had seen such sigils before. Others mutilated themselves in penance, believing their suffering would drive away the evil. It did not. In time, charity rotted into cruelty. The monks no longer gave bread to the poor but beat beggars from their gates with iron rods. They no longer tended the sick but dragged plague victims into the fields and left them for the crows. At night, their chants grew louder, but not holy. The psalms twisted into howls. Latin prayers warped into cries that sounded more like invocation than devotion. The villagers whispered that St. Veridicus was no longer a monastery but a gateway to hell. They said the abbot himself had made a pact, that in exchange for protection from famine and plague, he had given the souls of his brothers to the devil. For though the village starved, the monks never lacked for food. While the Black Death swept through the land, the cloister gates remained shut, and no monk was seen to sicken. But the price was terrible. Travelers who sought shelter at the monastery were never seen again. Their horses were found wandering the fields, but their masters were gone. Villagers swore they heard screams drifting from the cloister at night, the cries of men roasted on unseen fires. Some even claimed to see pale faces staring from the windows, mouths open in silent agony. The church sent investigators, priests armed with relics and scripture, to test the cloister's purity. None returned. One priest, Father Arnulf, managed to scratch a warning into the wood of a roadside shrine before vanishing. Cave Monasterium. Demons in Claustro. Beware the monastery. Demons in the cloister. At last the villagers rose. Armed with torches and pitchforks, they marched to St. Veridicus, demanding the monks abandon the place. The gates opened, but what emerged was not human. The brothers who once walked with heads bowed now stood tall, their eyes burning, their mouths stretched into unnatural smiles. Their chants rose like thunder, and the villagers broke, fleeing in terror. From that day on, none dared approach. The monastery stood in silence, the bells never tolling, its walls blackened with soot though no fire had touched them.